In this video, we'll run through how SAML authentication works. We've got the identity provider here on the left, the users in the middle, and the service provider on the right is Zscaler. The applications users will attempt to access on the right-hand side could be public applications like Salesforce.com or internal applications that are made available through Zscaler Private Access. The first thing that happens is a request is made for an application. Since the user is not authenticated, at steps 2 and 3, they are redirected to authenticate at either Zscaler Internet Access or Zscaler Private Access, depending on whether the application is public or private. This request to authenticate will, in turn, lead to a SAML authentication request being sent to the SAML identity provider, which is steps 4 and 5. A SAML authentication request is a message that indicates to the identity provider that a user must authenticate and that a SAML assertion should be returned to the SAML service provider. The identity provider must be configured to trust this particular service provider in order to honor the request and ultimately return a SAML assertion. At this point, the user would be challenged by the identity provider to authenticate. The authentication policy is controlled by the configuration at the IDP, so this could be a simple username and password, maybe it's Kerberos, or it could be multi-factor authentication. Beyond just authenticating users, though, identity providers can perform additional actions, such as retrieving additional user attributes and group memberships. This data can be included in the SAML assertion. The final thing the identity provider does is assemble the SAML assertion and cryptographically secure it using a digital signature. The SAML assertion will be delivered to the service provider via the user's browser. This is delivered using a form post that is automatically submitted via JavaScript, so the experience to the end user is the same as an HTTP redirect. This is shown here in steps 6 and 7. When Zscaler receives the SAML assertion, it validates the digital signature to ensure it came from a trusted source and that the data wasn't tampered with in transit. Assuming it's cryptographically verified, Zscaler issues an authentication token here at step 8 to the Zscaler client connector or a cookie to the user's browser, depending on what client type is being used. At this point, the user is authenticated at Zscaler, and the request for the application can resume via the Zscaler Zero Trust Exchange in step 9.